Hey, everybody, and welcome in. It's the Poor Man Fantasy Football League podcast. We're the fantasy football show that gives you a peek inside the life and times of our Dynasty League. I'm your host, Mike, and with me, as always, is my friend Andrew. And this week, we're going to be doing some quick, dirty reviews of some NFL analyst mock drafts. It is Wednesday night, April 16th. Yep, all day today. And let's get this show started. Andrew, how you doing?
Not too bad. Pardon me, and yourself?
Oh, he's having a heart attack. Everybody, quick.
No, don't be saying that.
Sorry, bad joke.
Doing good. And yourself?
Pretty good, actually. I have been taking a course in preparation for a certification exam I've been planning on taking for nearly 8 years.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, my employer has finally cracked down to say, yeah, you know what, we'll help you get it. Here we go. I was like, awesome. But I don't remember anything from the original time that you guys allowed me to take the course and then denied me to take the test. So I'm going to need to take the course again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it all flooding back?
Oh, yeah. And it is painful as it was the first time.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's a large exam. I think it's going to be about 6 to 8 hours when I write the exam.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big one, and just taking the refresher, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, no, I know this, yeah, I know this, I know this, I know this. Oh my goodness, this is so brutal. How slow, and then right in the middle of today's session, because the organizer, the facilitator, used Zoom. Zoom crashed globally. The servers went down, so Zoom around the world shut down. Great way to run a course when there's nothing. But they use a service called Slack as a way to distribute and communicate stuff. So we were chatting via that, and then they set up another a secondary session through Teams.
Yeah, there's lots
And
of options that are free.
lots of options. Just it was rather embarrassing. They were talking about subject matter, and then the irony of the system failed.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, wow, out of their hands, but still, it was still funny. Yeah. Anyways, spring is here. It's in full session. The grass is starting to turn green. The sun has appeared, but it has gone into hiding throughout the day. It was cold. It snowed a couple times. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't physically see it, but I heard all about it. Yeah.
Yeah. It never made it to the ground, never stayed. But you could look out the window and you could see the little flakes falling. It's like, nope, not today. Not today.
Nice to get that cold wind, right?
Yeah, it is brisk. It is definitely brisk. Anyways, not a lot of news to talk about. We tried finding something relevant to share with the world, to discuss, to debate, to even linger on for a moment. And the best we come up with was old man Joe Flacco re-signing on a 1-year deal with the Browns, which is kind of exciting because he was actually pretty good for them that 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's still like fucking on the list of all of their quarterbacks that they seem to be.
They're taking my approach
Yes.
to handling the quarterback. You just get a bunch of bodies on your roster. One of them will work.
So nobody else can get them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how you do it. You deny everyone else from the luxuries of having Joe Flacco.
Yes.
Now, as mentioned before, we are getting closer and closer to the actual NFL draft, which starts next Thursday. So we're a little over a week away. So you gave the idea of doing some mock draft review. So I think we'll save the best for next week, next Wednesday night, as we get essentially to the eve of. And today we're going to be doing some conversations around the NFL.com Felice 2.0, the CBS Jared Dubin. We're going to throw in ESPN's Mel Kiper, Pro Football Focus Mason Cameron, and I found a random one called The Ringer and Deontay Lee. So just to kind of like give a variety of spectrum from recognized sources and then a couple lesser known. I did find the first overall pick to be lame and boring in all cases.
Yeah. Yeah. Tennessee is taking Cam Ward. Unless for some reason they pivot to Travis Hunter, which I can't see them doing. They need somebody to chuck the ball. So he's the best. He is the best quarterback that's available. So
yeah, by all metrics, I think he's
the only other team that needs a quarterback really worse than them is, to me, is the Colts.
Okay.
I'm still not convinced with Anthony Richards.
Or not. What about not Daniel Jones? You don't think Daniel Jones is gonna?
Fumble on the 2-yard line as you're running into the end zone, Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that I think that are in quarterback trouble that probably won't find their answer here. But we'll talk about that because there is one particular draft that moved 4 quarterbacks into the first round.
Okay.
So that said, I do want to add one interesting tidbit. So Cam Ward, being a young man, loves his Fortnite. He plays this video game and he live streams. And in his most recent live stream, if you guys haven't seen this is on Sleeper in the news section, that he was asked who does he think is the best running back. I'm not sure if it was duo or best running back like group in the NFL. I'm going to give you one guess on who he said was the best running back or running backs.
It's not going to be McCaffrey anymore.
No, not even close. Think closer to where he might be drafted.
What, Tennessee's running backs?
Yeah. Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears was his answer.
Pollard, I think, is done. Spears could have if they get a quarterback who can produce, and it's not all on Spears' shoulders. Spears could have a good year, but I no, he's
you wouldn't have said Bijan, you wouldn't have said Saquon Barkley, you wouldn't have said any of those names. No, instead what you said is I'm probably gonna like regret not saying my future teammates' names.
Yes.
So I will say Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears.
Yes.
And it's like, wow.
Did he actually go Pollard and then Spears? Wow. Because Pollard, I don't think, is going to be the starter.
You don't think so? You think Spears is going to take that jump?
Maybe game one, maybe Pollard will be the starter, but Spears has got to take it after that. Like unless this is Pollard's kind of
like wake up call,
like Barkley had with Philadelphia.
No, I wouldn't really call that the same.
The change of scenery and
more of like the situation with Chuba Hubbard and
maybe
and Jonathan, whatever that guy who never played football for him. Whatever. You're just like, hey, look, you are the guy until you're not the guy because we'll gladly replace you.
Yeah.
So Tony Pollard's on a short leash.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Like I said, I can't see them not taking Ward first overall, and it only makes sense for that. I see who you have, well, not you, but I see what everybody else is going for the next pick number 2 or 3.
But it's not the same team. He's the next offensive player off the board.
Yes.
But not at the same draft capital or team.
And I watched a commentary this afternoon while I was sitting at dance. I was watching a commentary where the guy was talking about Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, unless you are a team that is going to play him both ways, don't bother taking him.
He said that. Actually, he said that. He went out and publicly, I'm not sure where, if he was on a news, like on a podcast, or if he was being interviewed by somebody, and he said, I will retire.
Wow.
If I don't get to play both offense and defense.
Okay, Eric Lindros.
Totally.
But the analyst comments, and it makes total sense. He is not a 1A wide receiver. He is not a 1A cornerback. He's not the top wide receiver in the draft. He's not the top cornerback in the draft. But if you're going to take him, now you've got one guy for 2 positions that can help you. He's a 1B and a 1B, but he's not the top guy at either of those positions.
Actually, I think he would be the top guy at the wide receiver position.
I don't know.
I don't know a lot about these guys, but just from what I'm hearing, he's a clear-cut number one. If he was only a wide receiver, he'd still be the number one wide receiver. The number one cornerback, that is definitely up for debate.
Like we'll see at the end. Come February when we're doing our wrap-ups and we're talking about how he did in the year. I think there will be a wide receiver in the 2nd or the 3rd or even the 4th round that will step up and be it seems
that always happens. So yeah,
there's a dark horse that comes through, a Puka Nacua type guy that just was
a later round draft pick, landed in the right spot, got yeah. You know what? I think you're right. That happens every year, and I'm excited to see who that's going to be and who is the guy who ends up drafting him.
Yes, but I Travis Hunter, because you don't know what you're going to get with Travis Hunter, right? Do you draft him as a wide receiver, or if your league has defensive players, do you take him as the defensive player, or where do you like I don't know, like do I take if I have the number 2 pick or the number 3 pick, depending on like if you're Felice, you're taking him third overall, but I guess he's got him as the second offensive player. Do you take a shot at him? The team that he goes to might not even play him as a wide receiver. They may play him as a DB.
Yeah.
It's a
You might have special packages. It also
yeah,
like depends on the head coach and the offensive coordinator and how they're going to plan to put packages in for him.
exactly. Or if he tweaks an ankle or he tweaks a hamstring or something like that, do they make him only play one position?
That is all. I don't see a team limiting him to one position. I think they might slowly start him back and forth and give limited touches on both sides of the ball until they really find a rhythm of what works.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for the player. I want to see what he can do on the field. I love the hype train that's behind him. I do think he's going to go top 3. I don't think he slips out of the top 3. So right now what we're looking at is out of these 5 mock drafts, he went to the New York Giants 1, 2, 3 times and the Cleveland Browns 2 times, which means Abdul Carter slipped to the New York Giants in all of those the 2 instances where Cleveland took it. They took Abdul Carter as the number 3 pick.
Yeah. I could see he would have more value, I think, for the Giants as a wide receiver than he would in Cleveland. Because I don't think they're going to have a solid quarterback in Cleveland. Well, I don't think they're going to have a very solid quarterback for the Giants either. But I think the Giants' offense is going to be better than Cleveland's offense.
I'd actually like to take a bet on that one because it's going to be Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson for the Giants,
or Flacco.
And no, because Flacco signed with the Bears, right?
No,
right. So the Browns,
Cleveland,
Cleveland. So for Cleveland, it's going to be not Deshaun Watson because he's not going to recover in time. It'll be Joe Flacco plus whoever it is they end up getting, and the big rumor is they're going to land somebody either via trade. Probably via trade, whether that's Kirk Cousins that they get from Atlanta or they make a trade for like Brock Purdy or something ridiculous.
That Kirk Cousins coming over from Atlanta might be a smart choice for them, a smart thing for them.
Just to get a respectable starter.
Somebody that can actually play, yeah. Even though I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan, but
I know. I don't think he's going to be much better than what they already have there, not in his current state. All right, so the third offensive player off the board I thought was very interesting because the number 6 pick to the Las Vegas Raiders, they're projected to take somebody at 6 on the offensive side of the ball.
yes.
High probability it's going to be Ashton Jeanty, which 2 of these mock drafts have queued in. 2 of them,
that's their smart pick.
I think that's the best pick. 2 of them have wide receiver Tatario McMillan. So he's the number 2 behind Travis.
Yeah. See, and I think he's probably Travis Hunter's up there. I think because the 2 positions. Again, if it was just a 1 position, if they were both wide receivers, I think McMillan would probably go ahead of.
McMillan doesn't watch film, and that's a big red flag for a lot of people. It's like if you don't study and you're not observing, how are you going to know how to get better? You're relying on raw talent. So he might be an absolutely amazing raw talent, but we both know that talent only takes you so far. Yeah. Hard work and dedication and commitment to your craft takes you all the way.
I guess no, that very valid point.
So that's the knock that he's currently, but he's still in top 10 here as a selection. What I found interesting is the NFL.com guy Felice. He had Ashton Jeanty go to the Jags at number 5.
That means the Raiders trade down.
No, the Jags pick right ahead of them, and because they picked Ashton Jeanty, he had Las Vegas going defense instead because they didn't get the running back and had them take a running back later on.
Okay, I've seen some actual drafts where Jeanty drops to Vegas at the 18 or 19 pick.
Does Vegas have another pick?
No,
or do they trade back up?
I think it was a trade.
Okay.
That moves them down, Like maybe they get a defensive player out of it and move down, and Genty dropped to them there. This was a few weeks ago, so we'll see. I like Genty going to the Raiders. I think he's a good fit. I think he could be a guy that, like, what's his face from the Jets had his rookie year.
Brees Hall.
Yeah, Brees Hall had his rookie year. I think Genty
Okay.
could have a rookie year like that.
All right. Be pretty awesome.
Because the film that I've seen on him, he's got speed and cut ability, but he also likes to run guys over. That's the draw for him. Is he can juke and get out of the way if he has to, but he can also just drop his shoulder and walk all over a guy. So if he gets out of the corner,
He's going to kill some cornerback, some little 5'9" guy.
Exactly. That's exactly it. He won't try and deke him out. He'll just walk all over them.
I was like, yeah, no, dude, just come at me, bro. I got you.
It's like a Barry Sanders, right? You drop your head when you have to, or you sidestep the linebacker coming at you and make him look like an idiot.
Break some ankles. Oh, that's cool. I do hear that Chicago is really high on Ashton Genty, so I don't see him falling out of the top 10 because Chicago does pick at 10.
Okay.
So I don't think Ashton Genty falls very far if he gets past number 6. Now, the next up here is where things really start to break apart for all these drafts. So the average here is the next team to pick would be New Orleans, and Shedeur Sanders seems to be, like, no questions, they're taking Shedeur Sanders. 3 of these 5 mocks have Shedeur Sanders going to New Orleans at 9. However, Pro Football Focus and The Ringer, you know what? I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to share the screen with you guys so you can see it. Share screen. What do I want to share? I want to share this. Boom. Done. All right. Okay, so now that I'm sharing the screen, you guys can kind of see what's going on here. So Shedeur Sanders, which is right here, NFL.com, CBS, and ESPN, they've got them all going at 9. Instead, they don't have New Orleans taking a quarterback or an offensive player at their pick. They have defense because in the Pro Football Focus, they have Carolina at number 8, taking wide receiver McMillan, and then nothing after that until we get down to pick 12. And then they've got Indy taking tight end Tyler Warren.
Which doesn't make any sense because Indy needs,
they need a lot of things.
Yeah. A tight end would not be the first thing I'd be going after if I was Indy. I'd be looking at, if McMillan is still available, McMillan. If Genty is available, Genty. Even Sanders. Even though I think Sanders is a second-round pick guy. But
that would be a pretty wild selection if Sanders doesn't go and he's sitting there for Indy, and Indy's like, wait a second. We've got Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. Do we want to take a shot on Shedeur Sanders to see what happens? That's
if they take him, then they could trade away
Anthony Richardson. Because I don't think anyone's going to take Daniel Jones.
Probably not. The Sanders could sit the first 3 games behind Daniel Jones because they're not expected to do anything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They trade away Anthony Richards and get another draft pick to maybe help them on defense, or to get a wide receiver in the second round so that the kid that Sanders has somebody to throw the ball to.
Yeah. Like maybe it's interesting.
One of the other Colorado wide receiver, right? Try and do the old college hookup thing.
Pair with somebody that he knows, that he's familiar with.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that's what kind of happens here in this particular range. Moving to the next line, we've got, again, tight end going to Indianapolis, but this time it's Colston Loveland. First tight end off the board going to Indy. Then Chicago somehow lands Ashton Genty because he wasn't taken in this particular CBS draft. At 10, Chicago, in this one, takes tight end Tyler Warren. Dallas takes tight end Tyler Warren at 12. And then somehow we skip all the way down to pick 18 in this Ringer mock draft, where Seattle takes wide receiver Matthew Golden.
I don't know really a lot about Golden, but
He seems to be the consensus wide receiver 3 in this draft.
Yeah, because on your next line, he's going at like 3.
Yeah, so 16, 12, they got him. Yeah, so like it makes sense he's the next wide receiver taken, but Seattle picks him up at 18. Obviously, Tyler Warren is really popular, that he's starting to go within this range. He's being looked at. Colson Loveland jumped up in this particular mock draft ahead of Tyler Warren. We both know Colson Loveland. We think he's a great tight end. He's definitely a first-round talent. To me, I don't think Indy's the right landing spot. They haven't done anything with their previous tight ends.
No. In this year's draft, I would like to see Loveland go to
Chargers.
That would be really nice.
Go back with his old coach.
Kansas City.
Yo, okay, wow, that would be a big one.
Cincinnati. Even, you know what, to go and learn behind Andrews in Baltimore.
Could be. That's a late round pick. I don't think he makes it that far back.
No, he won't. Yeah, he won't drop that far. But those are teams that I think I would like to see him go to.
Okay.
And even on the other side, like go to Dallas. I know Dallas has got a decent tight end, but again, go there.
They could
go to San Francisco because Kittle's probably only got 1 or 2 years left.
All right, that's a possibility.
Yeah, like I think Loveland could really excel in a lot of places. Indianapolis is not going to be one of them, I don't think.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at the next round here. In the next round, this is where we see Matthew Golden appear three times. Arizona at 16, according to NFL.com, or to Dallas at 12, according to CBS. Dallas takes Omarion Hampton, the projected number 2 running back, off the board at 12. That's kind of exciting.
Well, Dallas really doesn't have a solid running back anymore.
The Pro Football Focus projects a trade for the Chargers to trade up to get Matthew Golden here at 16. So Arizona and the Chargers take a swap. And somehow the Ringer believes Ashton Genty falls all the way to pick 20 and goes to Denver. Like, great selection. If that happens, that's fantastic for Ashton Genty and Denver, to the moon. I don't think he makes it that far. I really don't.
No, neither do I. But again, Denver, Las Vegas, great landing spots for him.
Yeah, coaches, system, the whole bit. Like, they would really utilize this guy.
Yep.
Now, moving down to the next line, this is where we're going to see some more tight ends. Tyler Warren going to the Chargers. We know the Chargers are looking for a tight end. Like, they've been connected to both Loveland and Warren and several mocks, so this is not an impossibility. But Indianapolis shows up twice in this row at pick 14, taking Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland. So I'm guessing we're the only ones that aren't aware of the need or the belief that Indy is going to take a tight end in this draft.
I just think they've got bigger holes to fill than their tight end, right?
Yeah.
But okay.
So that's the route they take. This wide receiver shows up for the first time, and that's wide receiver Luther Burden. He appears here at pick 20 for Denver. Denver does need some offensive weapons. So I suspect that they will do either an early round wide receiver or running back and then pick the alternate in the second or third.
Yeah. I think if they take this wide receiver late in the second half of the first round, that could be a steal for them. Could fit in very well at the wide receiver 2 mark for them. It could be an interesting pick. Like Denver, I think, is going to be a very improved team.
They were great for what they were last year. So any assets they get that hit, wow.
Yeah, everybody wrote them off at the beginning of the year last year as they're an up and coming team. Nobody expected them to do anything last year. They surprised everybody. This year, just improve on it, tweak the model and the platform. I think they could push Kansas City for the division. And the Chargers. It's going to be a 3-way thing.
Awesome. Okay. That puts this last pick here, the Pittsburgh Steelers somehow getting Shadur Sanders at pick 21. Now, I'm not sure if that's a realistic expectation. Might not fully believe in Shadur Sanders, but I think there's other teams that would probably have traded up at this point to try and snag him.
Yes, I think so. I think so too. Um, as much as I don't believe in him, there are teams that need quarterbacks. Pittsburgh, yes, they do need another.
They need a prospect. They need somebody. Right now, Mason Rudolph is the only guy on the roster. It is believed that Aaron Rodgers is going to sign there. Don't know for certain, but that is as a possibility.
Yeah, like that's the big thing is that Rodgers is going to wait until the last second and sign. So does Pittsburgh? I don't know. Does Pittsburgh get desperate thinking, "My gosh, what if Rodgers doesn't sign with us? Then we're really hooped."
Yeah, if I'm Pittsburgh, if Rodgers hasn't signed by draft day, yeah, I'm not expecting him to.
But then maybe Sanders is their answer. But I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's move to the second half and essentially the back end of this particular review. This is where we're going to move in. I'm going to round out this next line here. We've got Denver according to NFL.com, they're going to take McMillan as their wide receiver. So I think Denver's a heavy favorite to take some offensive weapons.
Yeah.
Over here, Denver selected running back Omarion Hampton, according to CBS. So definitely leaning the way that this team needs a number one running back, a number one wide receiver.
Yeah, didn't somebody else have Denver taken him earlier?
Yeah, right here. Where was that? Denver at 20. Denver took Ashton Genty, according to the Ringer.
20. So same round. So one guy has him take Genty, while the other one has him Hampton.
Yeah. Depending on who's available, I don't think Genty makes it this far, but if he does, that's a lock of a pick.
Yeah.
Over here, we've got ESPN Mel Kiper saying that Arizona is going to take Matthew Golden. I think that's expected that they're going to take. He's going to take a wide receiver. They need the offensive help because they don't have anybody left. Right? They paid Trey McBride. They got James Conner. He's aging out. Trey Benson didn't really rise up to steal the job, and Marvin Harrison didn't live up to the massive hype. Now, granted, he's still a rookie. He had a great rookie year. He just wasn't prolific.
Yeah. I think though Arizona is another team that they have other holes to fill first. I think fix your offensive line so that your quarterback and your running back don't get their heads kicked in.
Very well could.
And then maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. does become the next Randy Moss. Who knows?
Who knows?
Never going to compare him to Randy Moss, but
everybody wants to be like Randy Moss.
So that you got Moss.
All right. Then we've got Shadur Sanders, according to the PFF. Shadur Sanders falls 21 to Pittsburgh. I think it's a pretty big lock that they're going to do that. They're going to make that selection. And then the Los Angeles Chargers at 22 get Colston Loveland. Yeah. So instead of trading up, they get him there. Second last round here, or I guess third last round, sorry. We've got Pittsburgh taking Omarion Hampton, which makes sense because they don't really have a high quality running back on the roster. They got rid of Najee Harris, so
isn't Warren the starter right now? Yeah,
he is. So it makes sense that they're going to draft a running back at some point. So I wouldn't be opposed to Omarion Hampton going there. I think there's better landing spots. Yeah. They've got Jackson Dart is rising up on boards. He gets taken by Pittsburgh at 21 because earlier on, New Orleans took Shadur Sanders. Denver is projected to take McMillan, so there's another Denver selection. The Los Angeles Rams take Colston Loveland at 26.
Where's Dart out of? Sorry, I'm just...
I think he's the number 3 quarterback on the board, but I don't think he's projected as a first-round talent, but he might move in based upon need. Dart, I think he's Alabama. NFL QB prospects 2025.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, okay.
And they're on this website,
Who are you looking at?
his bio, like Jackson Dart bio. It's just when you just Google his name. They have it linked that maybe he's going to the Giants.
Okay, I've got this website says Jackson Dart is from Mississippi.
He's from
Like he played for Mississippi.
says, yeah, Old Miss is Mississippi.
Okay. And this is Pro Football Focus, and they've got Jackson Dart ranked 6 with Riley Leonard from Notre Dame ahead of him, Will Howard from Ohio State ahead of him, and Jalen Milroe from Alabama ahead of him.
Wow.
Well, that is interesting.
Marca.com. This is the headline. New York Giants have shut the door on Shedeur Sanders, and now they're focusing on this guy. Interesting. Some of the rumors that come out the week before, right?
Okay. According to
Mind
CB,
games with us.
they do. That's why it's all opinion, right? Nobody knows for sure. Here's what CBS.com has as the rankings for all the players. So Cam Ward is number 3 overall, but the number 1 quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is 27 overall, the number 2 quarterback. Jackson Dart is 50 overall, but the number 3 quarterback.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe is 78 overall, but number 4. Quinn Ewers of Texas is number 5.
I'm surprised he's dropped.
Quinn Ewers?
Yeah, I thought he was ranked higher than that for a while.
Maybe for a while, but just not. Yeah, but Kyle McGorn.
Maybe he had bad pro days or whatever.
Definitely an interesting mix. I'm looking forward to seeing how the this particular draft for quarterbacks goes. Yeah. All right.
Why so you can go out and draft 15 more of them?
Yeah, well, man, I need to put in the young blood to fill in the gap as I get rid of some of the old.
Yeah.
That's right. So other names that appeared on this list is Emeka Abuka,
wide receiver for
Ohio State, gets drafted by the Chargers.
I'd like to. I don't mind that one either.
He was a talented wide receiver.
He was, but also just so that Harbaugh can mock him throughout all the practices
and motivate him through Michigan love.
Yes.
Yeah. Or with Michigan love. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay. He's got, in this one, the Rams also take Colston Loveland, so that's a possibility that they're going to go after a tight end. Jackson Dart is going to the Rams, and according to Mel Kiper, that's a possibility because they don't really have a backup.
Smart pick.
Mm-hmm. Matt Stafford could play over another year or two, and you got this kid ready to go in a couple of years. Not a bad idea.
But also, he's probably a good, solid backup in case Stafford gets hurt again.
I still think they have Jimmy G.
Like I said.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. And then Cleveland here, according to Pro Football Focus, they trade back into at the end of the first round with Philly to pick up Jackson Dart.
Yeah. That's where I would just quit.
Who would quit? You as Jackson Dart would quit?
Yes.
No.
Because now I'm fourth. I'm fourth behind a guy who's likes touching girls.
But no. He no. You would be ahead of him because that guy's on the injured list. He can't play.
I guess you got a guy who's mediocre at best, and then you have a 65-year-old guy who's ahead of you. So,
hey, this is perfect. No one expects much from you, and if you do something great, they're all going to be like, "My goodness, we drafted the best quarterback ever."
He's going to be the next Bernie Kosar for them.
I don't know who that is.
You seriously, you don't know who Bernie Kosar is?
That name is not ringing any bells.
He was the last good quarterback Cleveland had.
Well, then I definitely don't know who that is because that's probably before I started watching football.
Yes. Let me. Bernie Kosar. What years did he play?
Okay, so that kid's going to have to deal. Oh, it was Kenny Pickett. That's the other guy they got over in Cleveland, Kenny Pickett. So Jackson Dart's going to have to compete with Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco.
Sure. He played with Cleveland. I didn't say how many years he played with Cleveland, but he was Cleveland's last good quarterback. and then he got his money all stolen away from him in on a Ponzi scam.
Well, that's kind of sad to hear. All right. So that's kind of what these analysts are thinking. A lot of similar names that we're seeing across the board. I don't disagree that those are probably the names that will be called. I think there might be a couple extra names that make it into this top of the list. I do like the strategy of teams trading back into the first round to grab that quarterback, like what they did. What happened to Lamar? Lamar was what, the 31st or 32nd pick when he was drafted, just so that the Ravens could get that 5th-year option. So a team that needs a quarterback, they take the shot, they draft the guy at the end, see what they get.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a real interesting watch next Thursday to see where everybody goes, to see what shapes our first round. Hopefully, there are 10 offensive players picked.
Well, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is the average.
Yeah. So
9.
we don't even have enough guys in the first round picked to fill our first round of our
10 team draft. Could you imagine 12 teams?
Yeah.
And now it really starts to thin out.
Yeah. It would get real rough.
That is a bit of a concern. Thank you for giving me that extra worry.
As defending champ, because you get the last pick.
I don't even think I've got my pick. I think I traded that away, so I'm not even getting that pick. Oh wait, no, I still have it. Yep, I have the 110, the 210, the 410, and the 510.
That's all you have in this draft?
That's all I have in this draft.
Wow.
In poor men.
Well, if you're looking to make some picks, I think I have about 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah, did you collect all of the bottom end? Let's see. This is gonna go pull up your. What do you got hiding over there? You've got the 103, the 101, the 208, the 201, the 310, the 308, the 309, the 303, the 301. You owned that third round. Oh my goodness. Wow.
I should be able to pick up the dark horse or two.
Yeah, I think so. My goodness. The 301, the 303, the 8, 9, and 10.
Yep.
Wow.
And then I think I still have 4th and 5th round picks.
No, you don't have a 4th, but you do have the 501.
There you go.
You're going to need to unload some of those picks before the draft just to make or dump a whole bunch of guys off your roster.
You know what? I picked a lot of those picks up for guys that were wanting to try to make the playoffs or trying to make a final push type thing. So
I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can see 10 guys on your roster I would drop right now.
Well, yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, I guess you don't really need to drop those picks because you should be okay with.
Some of my guys cannot be worse than what I'm going to draft. Or some of those guys are going to be worse than what I pick up. So,
yeah, Justin Watson, Cedric Wilson, Noah Brown, Xavier Hutchinson, Justice Hill. Does he even have a job? Oh, maybe he does. Yeah, okay. He's currently sitting. He's the backup to Derrick Henry. Yeah, okay. So maybe he's not worth dropping. Who's this tight end? Josh Weil, tight end for the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, okay. Cool. Yep. No, I think you're okay. You're in a good spot.
If you need a pick or two, you can
send
me a trade offer.
All right. I'll throw some stuff out there. Let's see what's going on.
One of your 64 quarterbacks.
Okay, well, let's just clear the air here.
This is the league I don't need quarterbacks in because I have.
You're good.
I have
C.J. Stroud.
I have Stroud and Mahomes.
Yep, and McCarthy.
And McCarthy, yes.
Yeah, I've got Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, and Jared Goff.
Yeah, I don't need your quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, my quarterbacks are okay. Yeah, I got rid of Deshaun Watson.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I am pretty good at tight end though. TJ Hawkinson, Dawson Knox, Luke Schoonemaker, Juwan Johnson, Trey McBride, Michael Mayer, and Sam Laporta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7.
You can drop 5 of them and just keep Laporta in a backup.
No, I think I'm going to keep Trey McBride and Laporta as my backup.
I don't know. Well, either one of them you could have as a flex player, right?
I could, yeah. I very well could put 2 of those at my flex spot. I think Michael Mayer, unfortunately, as highly as he was drafted, where did he go? He was drafted by the 208 by Ice and Metal, and then dropped by Ice and Metal, and then I picked him up,
But he
and
got
Brock Bowers took his
Brock
job.
Bowers. Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
like, Vegas has moved on from him already.
Yeah. So he didn't even last a year, and Brock Bowers.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got nothing left in the tank. I think next week what we're going to do is we'll do a bit differently. We'll find a different way to present the information. Maybe we'll do one thing at a time, or I'll lay out the selections in a spreadsheet so we can see them pick by pick. So we'll see what's a defensive player, what's an offensive player. Yeah, something like that.
That works.
All right. Well, folks, thank you very much for hanging out with us on this Wednesday night. You enjoy the rest of your sunny evening over there, Mr. Pradlack.
Yes, we'll try to.
Well, guys, thanks again for enjoying the show. Come back next week. We're looking forward to the draft as much as I think as you are, because as soon as that happens, our rookie fever will start to build. Until then, remember, from one poor man to another, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. Good night, everybody.
Have a great Easter, everybody.
Oh, that's right. Happy Easter.
Yes. Have a great week, everybody.